On this week's show, the Georgia Southern baseball team takes 2 of 3 at Arkansas State. We have highlights, the softball team returns home, and spring football continues as the Eagles finally put on pads. All that and more as we welcome you inside the Eagles Nest.
Blue, white, Eagles came to fight, it's their blue, white, Eagles came to fight, it's their blue.
And welcome inside the Eagles Nest. I'm your host, Josh Aubrey, being joined by Mike Anthony, sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. And Mike, plenty to go on this week. Everything going on outdoors. We have Georgia Southern softball, we have Georgia Southern spring football, and we're going to begin with the baseball Eagles, who were on the diamond this past weekend, went on the road at Arkansas State, took 2 of 3 on the road. Looked pretty good, and then one loss was the usual bug coming back to bite them. They made some errors. They didn't pitch too bad, didn't really hit really well, but they did come back in that game, only to see them fall 6-5. But a good series nonetheless for the Eagles, taking 2 out of 3 on the road.
Well, the Eagles continue to do what they can. The wins that they're getting are coming via their strengths. They play some small ball, going against an Arkansas State team that had pitching depth issues. They were prone to giving up some big innings. The Eagles were able to do that, getting a couple of long home runs from Ryan Cleveland, who continues to hit them at the best moments, either late in the game or with a few guys on base. So making the most of the big hits that they do get. The pitching continues to be solid. One of the few hiccups we've seen from the bullpen, a couple days in a row, a few walks, they seem to be the main issue. Not a lot of big hits given up by the Eagles, but a lot of free passes tending to be on the bases when those hits for the opposition do come. But in the end, it's winning 2 out of 3 on the road in conference, something any coach will be happy with.
All right, Mike. Well, unfortunately, the Eagles fall at Georgia Tech on the midweek game on Wednesday, but let's get back and see some good news. Eagles take 2 out of 3 at Arkansas State. Georgia Southern on the road at Arkansas State for Sunbelt action. We pick things up. The second, C.J. Ballard doubles to deep left. This will bring Logan Baldwin in, and the Eagles take a 1-0 lead. In the third, Ryan Cleveland showing off the glove work, making a nice grab at first. Top of the fourth we go, and it's Cleveland getting it done with the stick. The sac fly here will bring home C.J. Brazel. And Georgia Southern goes on to take game 1 by a final count of 7-1. Game 2 we go. Bottom of the third, Arkansas State up 2-0. The bases loaded, and they were looking to add more. Tony Ortiz, the batter. A tough play to handle. In come a pair of Red Wolves, and it's 4-0 Arkansas State. Neil Lambert can't pad the lead. Connor Simmons gets the swing and a miss to end the inning. Down 4-0, Georgia Southern's Kent Rollins puts it in play. That gets the Eagles on the board. Hunter Thomas scores. GSU rallies from 5-1 down to tie it at 5, but end up losing 6-5 the final. So the rubber match between the two teams going on Saturday, a beautiful day. Top of the first, Ryan Cleveland splits the defense with an RBI single. Georgia Southern up 1-0. The Red Wolves score 3 in the bottom of the first, but that lead wouldn't last long. C.J. Brazel brings the lead to just 1 run as he advances to second on the play. The run scores. Then Ryan Cleveland again. And this time, it's up, and away. The home run for the Eagles as they take the lead, the game, and the series by a final count of 9-7. Well, Mike, next up for the Eagles, weather permitting, we're trying to get in as many games as possible, but they'll be hosting Texas State for a 3-game series beginning on Friday. Well, let's stay outdoors and go to the Georgia Southern football practice field where the Eagles are in the midst of spring practice. Finally got a chance to put the pads on Tuesday. Your thoughts on how things are going for what we can talk about. It's awfully loud out there with the music, I guess. If you like that, I guess there's a method to the madness with Coach Summers, trying to make sure the players are trying to stay focused and the coaches are, knowing there's going to be noise during the games, I guess. Your thoughts on how spring practice is going?
Well, that's exactly his point with the music. Not only does it create kind of a lighter atmosphere, keep the players loose, but Coach Summers mentioned it. He wants chaos, and in this case, controlled chaos. No one's going to be quiet for you on the road games. You've seen it before where they go to Paulson Stadium, they crank up the speakers as loud as they can go. This is just, I guess, a dulled down version of it, just coming from one speaker on the practice field, but it does force better communication, whether it's from coaches to players or quarterbacks trying to get the audibles across on the line. So I do see where he's coming from there. I don't know about the spectators. It seems like the music might be to some of their likings, maybe not to others, but the important part is how it affects the team and whether or not it helps them to succeed. And speaking of loudness, it might not just be from the music, it could be from the hitting. The Eagles go full pads on Tuesday, not afraid to ramp it right up to 11. A lot of times over the last few years, we've seen just shells, those helmets, shoulder pads, a lot of shorts out there, not a lot of full contact. Not the case so far early in the spring. Hopefully the conditioning holds out for the Eagles.
That's the big question mark going in, was how physical would they be? We know that with Willie Fritz, he tried to kind of come back or scale back a little bit as far as not tackling all the way to the ground. That didn't seem to be the case. I hope we can report on that. It looked like they were hitting to the ground. They did the Oklahoma drill for a little while out there as well. Do you think that that's a good thing, or do you think that you're risking injury by doing some of this?
Well, I think that Georgia Southern fans could easily overreact to the increased hitting just because they've seen the extreme of both sides of the coin. Over the last few years, it was a really novel concept, not hitting very much, if at all. A lot of people were concerned about how tough the Eagles could be. The defense did just fine. It's improved over the last couple of years, despite those less contact in the practices. On the other hand, right before Coach Fritz got here, it was Coach Jeff Monken who was going hard every single day, and injuries can happen and they'll be more frequent when you have more contact. I think that his last year, they were just snake bit. Everybody was getting hurt. You would show up to practice and two new guys would be out of pads, on the bike, never to be seen again. So I think that Georgia Southern fans have kind of seen the best case scenario, the worst case scenario. I would have to think that going back to more contact, sure, there might be one or two injuries, but I don't think that they can possibly be as unlucky as they were a few years ago.
All right, well, we had a chance to talk with Coach Summers and some of the players. Here's what they had to say about how things are going at spring practice.
I feel like it's working out very good. They're all great guys, great coaches. They know how to coach our players. They don't just yell and not do all that. They'll pull you side to side and talk to you one-on-one. That's what we need. Coaches that coach their plays. They're just not out there just to yell. That's what we need. A lot of fun. The music helps. It gets everybody amped up. Everybody. I don't know. It's like an adrenaline rush when the music comes on. To an extent, it causes a little bit of chaos, but I think that's good chaos. Everybody starts dancing. Some people might get off track sometimes, but it's just good because it's a lot of enthusiasm when the music comes on.
Yeah, definitely it can be difficult at first, because you're just so used to doing one thing. We've been with the same coaching staff for 2 years, so it's a little bit hard, to try to go to a new thing, but just try to do what they're telling you and just stay with it. Talking about just going fast. This is the third time we've done this, so don't worry about technique anymore. Kind of go fast, and we'll coach technique. We've kind of been going slow past couple of days. Now we just want to amp it up and just go as fast as we can.
I think, like you said, we've made a decision that we want to make sure that we have physical, tough practices, and we want to push them to be as mentally tough as we can, and we want to do that by making a lot of physical demands. We want them to think when they're tired, push when they're tired. We want to see who leads when they're tired, and there's only one way to do that, and that's by having a physical, tough practice. And that's what we've tried to do. Yes, we're trying to be, keep a good pace in what we're doing and trying to create a little bit of chaos at the same time. The biggest thing that you see is these guys, and what you hope to see is that they may at some point in practice kind of hit a low point, hit a place where they have to be able to overcome some things, and then be able to see what Coach Dorsey was able to do with the offseason. I know we did a fantastic job with our team in the offseason, and now finding ways for those guys to now, after they've had a tough period 9, period 10, period 11, find a way to really finish right and have a good finish for their last 7 or 8 periods of practice. That's what we're looking for. Certainly some guys I thought today that did have moments through the practice where where they wanted to find a way out of a drill for whatever reason, and we tried to do everything we could to make sure and encourage them to get back in and try again and do it right and be tough, and I am really proud of the guys that did that.
Well, spring practice continues on the banks of beautiful Eagle Creek. Again, bring your ID out there because you have to kind of check in if you want to go in there and watch football practice. Well, staying outside on the diamond, Mike, the Georgia Southern softball team off to a very good start in the Sun Belt play. They just went on the road to UT Arlington, a very good team, took 2 out of 3 from them, won 2 out of 3 earlier in the season. They've got a midweek series with Jacksonville and then back in Sun Belt play this weekend. Your thoughts on how softball's going?
This is probably the most pleasant surprise of the athletic year for Georgia Southern. Softball really took the brunt of that move from SoCon to the Sun Belt. The SoCon usually around 15 to 20 in conference RPI. The Sun Belt currently sitting at 4th, and every year they send not only multiple teams to the regionals, they've had a couple teams make it all the way to the College World Series, so the Eagles definitely with their work cut out for them. Last year, just 4 wins, 4-20 in conference play, only 12 wins overall. They're definitely turning things around this year, still over the 500 mark, 19 wins so far this season, and more importantly, a 4-2 start in conference play. They're really starting to prove themselves. This is a team that wasn't picked to do a whole lot of things, probably not be a factor in the Sun Belt. It looks, though, that they've got some things working to turn it around. A lot of freshmen producing, and included in one of the most important places, inside that pitching circle. Georgia Southern never at a loss for great names on their athletes. Dixie Raley could be the next one that you need to know. A great start to her career so far, and a very important road series at UL Monroe coming up this weekend.
All right, well, they had a midweek series with Jacksonville. Let's go out and see some of the highlights. The Georgia Southern Eagles hosting Jacksonville in the first of 2 at Eagle Field. The Dolphins with the man on third, but Dixie Raley there with the strikeout in the third. Freshman Haley Carter with the little poke. She'll be safe for her first hit of the season. With 2 on now, Emily Snyder with the RBI single. Carter comes in to make it 1-0. The next batter, Morgan Robinson. Her hit is bobbled by the third baseman, so that makes it bases loaded. A.J. Hamilton then with the hard hit to short. She reaches on the infield hit. Eagles will go on to win 3-2 and drop the nightcap 3-0. So, Micah, ULM coming up this weekend. 3-game series on the road. We'll let you know how they do next week. Well, for now, that'll wrap things up. For Mike Anthony, I'm Josh Aubrey. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.